Welcome everyone, this is the book review for Mere Christianity by C.S. Lewis. And we're going to upload chapter by chapter book review for the entire book in this series. C.S. Lewis, his full name is Clive Staples Lewis. He's considered as one of the intellectual giants of the 20th century. He wrote many books including the Chronicles of Narnia. And he taught literature at Oxford University and Cambridge University as well. Mere Christianity has 4 books or 4 sections. In those 4 books, it has 32 chapters, and naturally we're going to have 32 review videos. Book 1, this is basically the table of content. We have 5 chapters in there. Book 2, What Christians Believe. And Book 3 has Christian Behavior. And please note, chapters 11 and 12 covers a subject matter of faith, which is very important chapters. Book 4, Beyond Personality, and what it means to be a Christian is captured here. So here we go. Book 1, The Law of Human Nature. Let me give you the main points first, because he have 2 main points. Basically, everyone believes that there is a certain way of our behavior. The second point he made was people do not in fact behave in that way, however. So we know there must be a certain way of behaving which is supposed to be a good way, but we do not always abide by it. To get to that conclusion, he started with this statement: quarreling means trying to show that the other man is in the wrong. A lot of people have different ideas about certain things, and one says that's right, the other says this is right. And that's why we have this dispute and quarreling. A second bullet point says, and there would be no sense in trying to do so unless there's some kind of agreement as to what's right or wrong. Because if one says this is the right way, the other person says that's the right way, then who can say which one's right unless they both somehow have some kind of expectations about the right or wrong ways. The relativism. He didn't really say it's a relativism, but he basically describes this in this way. If everyone decides what's right or wrong based on their subjective beliefs and opinions, only reasonable solution is to agree to disagree. We hear this expression all the time in today's world. After lengthy discussion or dispute, we say, okay, let's agree to disagree. Means you take your way and I'll take my way. Let me put it this way. One person says 2 plus 2 equals 5. Another person says, no, it's 7. Then, one of those answers may be closer to the right answer. We all know the right answer is 4, but these people firmly believe their answers are the correct answer. Both can be wrong, and both are wrong in this situation, but it's just impossible for both answers are the correct answer. By saying agree to disagree and acknowledging other person's opinion, we're just saying that, okay, my answer, your answer, both can be right. But again, both can be wrong, but it's impossible for both answers can be correct. So maybe, and just maybe, there must be the right answer to this question. I know we're not talking about math formula in human nature. However, it's very interesting to think about if there's any right answer to our behaviors. Since this is the law of nature that C.S. Lewis stated, he believes that people think that everyone should know naturally. For example, gravity. If you let go of something from your hand, it'll naturally fall to the ground. Everyone knows it, and you may not know the name of the law of nature, which is gravity in this situation, but you know what's going to happen when you take that action that I just described. And this law of nature, everyone is subject to this. There's no exception. Whether you live in America, you live in Africa, it doesn't matter. Law of nature applies to everyone in this situation. How about decent behavior? There's some minor variations on moralities among different civilizations throughout history, but no civilization or culture regard selfishness, for example, as good behavior or virtue. And as he continues his discussion, he's giving us this very practical example. Let's say both parties made an agreement, and then one person break it, then the other party will scream, "That's not fair," because we agreed to do these things together based on certain terms that we agreed upon, but the other person broke it. Then being fair versus unfair, that's a question we have to ask here. When we say something is unfair, we believe the existence of the law of nature just like gravity. We agreed on these terms. That means we expect you to do these things, just like gravity. And the reason why we say this is, since we agreed upon this one, it's supposed to be obvious to everyone. That tells us, even though we do not know what it is, we as human beings believe that there's real right and wrong out there, aside from our own feelings and subjective way of looking at things. So the conclusion of this chapter is this. Human beings have this idea of what we're supposed to be doing in terms of our behavior. And that behavior is supposed to be known by people just like gravity. Unfortunately, however, we do not always abide by this law of nature or human behavior. So we break it. It's not like gravity that applies to everyone. That's when we have this dispute about fair versus unfair, because the expectation has been broken by somebody or other people around you, or you yourself. His conclusion on page 8 is this. These two facts are the foundation of all clear thinking about ourselves and the universe we live in. Because this supposedly known fact or natural law that people all should know, somehow we do not keep up with that law, and that's why we ask questions about being fair or unfair. This proposition is chapter 1's main point, and in chapter 2, he discusses some objections towards this proposition. So if you have questions and comments, please leave those questions and comments under the video. And just like anything else, let's read chapter 2 in advance before you take chapter 2 summary from this video series. And that'll help us to better understand and ask some questions down the road. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in chapter 2 book review.